All right, so it's the last session for this lesson. So it's nothing new. Let's go ahead and read and annotate. We've got Cece's dog loses 1 1/4, so that's negative. Loses another, negative. Gains 3/8, positive. What's the total change in body weight? So remember, you want to put all your negatives together first and all your positives. So we're going to put these two negatives together by adding these two fractions. So we've got 1 1/4. We're adding to that 1 1/8. These need to have the same denominator, so I'm going to make them both eighths by multiplying this top fraction by 2/2. So I have 1 2/8 plus 1 1/8. That gives me 2 3/8, but they were negative, so they're still negative. Okay, so I have negative 2 3/8. And then I have this positive 3/8. Since these are opposites, right? I have one negative sign, one positive sign. I'm going to subtract these. So larger number goes on top, 2 3/8 minus 3/8. So that's nice. The fractions cancel each other out, so I'm left with 2. Now, is it positive 2 or negative 2? I had 2 negatives, and I only had 3/8 positives, so I had way more negatives. So the overall change is negative 2 pounds. So answer the question, what's the change? The total change in weight was negative 2 pounds. So now we're just practicing what we already know. We have a negative 8 3/10, and it says minus a negative. So remember, that just means plus. So I have a negative and a positive. They're opposites. Subtract. Larger number on top. Don't worry about signs yet. Can't do that. 13 minus 4 is 9. 7 minus 5 is 2. Is it positive 2 9/10 or negative? I had 8 negatives. I only have 5 positives, so my answer is negative. Next one. Which value of x makes the following statement true? I have a negative 0.5, and I subtract x to get a positive number. Okay, well, if I have negative 0.5, if I just put minus anything, it's going to stay negative. So that means I need to not subtract a positive, but I need to subtract a negative anything, right? So I need to subtract a negative number. So it's not going to be A because that's positive. It's not going to be B because that's positive. Will C work? Is C going to give me a positive number? If I had negative 5.5 minus negative 0.5, that's going to give me 0. That's not a positive number. That's 0. So that doesn't work either. I need a number larger with a larger absolute value. So this one is the only one that works, choice D. So for the next one, Lulu chose A. How might she have gotten that answer? Well, she could have thought because, this is 0.5 and this is a positive 1.5, but they didn't say we're adding the x, we're subtracting it. So she probably was thinking that she could add that instead of subtract. So Lulu might have thought you were adding, might have thought 1.5 when you need to actually subtract it. So the rest of these are pretty straightforward. Not going to go through all of them. Just take your time. Remember, this is a negative 50 below. It goes up, so then this one's going to be positive. Goes down, this one's negative. Remember, You're going to add your negatives together first. Then you'll subtract those positives. Which situation could the expression -8 minus 10 represent? So it's negative getting more negative. Elevator stops at the 8th floor? No, because that's a positive 8. Earned $8? No, that's a positive 8. 8 people got off? Yes, that's negative. 10 people got on? That's positive. No. Temperature dropped 8 feet? Negative. Dropped another 10 feet? Absolutely. Without calculating, how can you tell if this is going to be positive or negative? Okay, well, this is negative. These together are going to make a positive. This is negative. I have way more negatives than positives. This answer will be negative. This is a 9 right here. So just by looking at that, I already know way more negatives. Negative 4 5/8 minus something is positive. What are two possible values of x? Okay, remember, if you subtract a positive, it's going to keep getting more negative. Because if this is negative 4 5/5, 5/8, and you put -3, it's negative getting more negative. So whatever you do, you have to subtract a negative here. Okay, you need it to look like this. Minus a negative. If you want to end up with an overall positive number, you have to have your number be bigger than this, a bigger absolute value. So -5, -6. Those are going to make this overall positive because remember, these two minuses are going to become a plus. So you need this to end up being a bigger absolute value than your 4 5/8. So any number with a bigger absolute value will work. There is an exit ticket today.